to lead. Women are interested to contribute. Women are really interested to show the way. But women haven't been given sufficient opportunity to participate. So this is one area, the emphasis protest has been an area that has shown Nigerians that women are capable, women are ready, and women will take charge. So I'm also happy about it. I'm happy that women came up and spoke up, and women were really the frontliners in the part of the frontliners in the struggle, in the movement. So it's very exciting.
All right, so I want to ask you right now, how do we ensure that women begin to realize that they play an integral part in the new Nigeria, that we desire, and how do we make sure that we begin to make women know that they're not just supposed to be electoral, but also they can also contest for elective position? How do we begin to make women see the need to participate in electoral process?
So for me, that's what. As an individual, I believe so much in that, and I've also, from my little place and my organization, we've also tried to contribute to that. It's empowering women with knowledge. Like most of the women who participated in the NSAS project, basically they cited things that are happening, and they came up to speak up, and they came up to take the lead and to drive what we believe in. So this frustration has helped women to speak up at this point. But again, they need to be reminded that they did this. Women need to be reminded that we stood in front, we contributed, we made our voices heard. So we are capable to participate in meetings. We should not let people, convince us that we are not able, we are not strong enough, we are not capable. We can start, sensitizing women in this area by making them understand their rights and helping them understand what the law says. The spaces they can play in. And for example, some of the political parties have written down in their constitution, this particular percentage of women, some 15, some 30%, and all of that. So women need to have this information about that is their right. Like when they mentioned some appointments in local government, in the state level, women are supposed to have a particular percentage, something 2 out of the 5 of a particular ministry of a particular commission and anything like that. So women should begin to demand for that. Women need to be sensitized to demand for that because they've already written it down, so we will ask for it. The same way we can ask for ends to police brutality. We can stand up and say, APC, you have this in your constitution. PDP, you have this in your constitution. Other parties, you have this in your constitution. So you have to, allow women to take this position.
Yeah. Let's talk about the quota system. The quota system, which is what you're talking about, that a particular percentage is being allocated for women. Do you think that is going to help us foster? Do you think that is the only way for us to achieve gender equality with regards to things like governance? Because some state governors have gone beyond the quota system of 35%. States like Kwara states are doing up to 45-50% already, and we've seen states that are not doing even up to 10% at all. The current administration has about 6%, so about 16%. So if you ask me, what then is the alternative to quota system? Because have we actually been able to achieve the inclusion of women in governance and politics through this quota system?
Like you rightly said, you've listed them out. Some people are doing well, even not some local governments are doing well, but it's not enough. A lot of them are not doing that. A lot of them don't even see the reason why they should do it. So it just goes back to what I was saying about if women are sensitized and they know that this is what women are well informed and they know that this is what that's already written down and this is what they have promised to give us, and we begin to demand for them. The same way we have been able to speak up at this time, to begin to participate, to begin to show up to the political parties, to their meetings, to ask for what is due us, I think it will go a long way. It will definitely be a gradual process. It's not going to just happen overnight. But because the awareness is now there, it will help if women can build on what's happening now and begin to, show up and begin to participate and ask for those positions. I think from demanding those positions is like a step towards achieving that.
Okay.
Demanding, to be given that space. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. This is still the big question on Women Radio WFM 91.7. The big question this morning is still on the series of My Pledge to Nigeria, and Chere, who is a lawyer and women's rights advocate, is who I'm speaking with this morning with regards to the conversation on My Pledge to Nigeria. Let me get your perspective to how can we begin to prioritize our responsibilities as citizens towards the Nigeria that we all desire as citizens. Now, let's shift the focus from the government but come to the individuals, people. How do we begin to advocate for more responsible citizens?
Well, the thing about I was in a conversation and I heard someone saying the pledge, the national anthem, that we should, when we recite the national anthem, that we should try to understand the lines and let it make meaning to us. We being able to know what it's all about and strive to be real patriotic citizens, as it were. So for us to be good citizens, I think we should understand what our responsibilities as citizens are. To have that desire to, because if we begin to change in our small circles, if we begin to take the right steps, make the right decisions in our small circles, and do the right things, basic things that, try to replicate what we want to see in the larger society, it will help us,
True.
Begin to move towards that. Sometimes I'm sure you would have heard people complaining about a particular situation, how the government is corrupt and that. And when you transact this particular person,
they also exhibit the same
money,
things.
Yes, and all kinds of things. So it starts from those little things. I'm not, of course, we are talking about citizens, so I'm not just trying to exonerate the government saying that they haven't done so well, but I'm just saying from our little circle, the way we want to transact with people, the way we do our business, and the way we do our responsibilities as citizens, even up to paying our taxes, even up to doing everything that a good citizen is required, and everything that we want to see, in the larger society, trying to replicate it in our smaller circles, in our religious worship centers, in our associations, in our different associations where we find ourselves. So if we begin to try to do such things, it will help us, in a long way to push for the Nigeria we desire and the Nigeria we deserve.
Okay, so as a lawyer, what's your perspective towards the conversations right now that has been around the regulation of the social media? And some youths have gone on the very popular platform Twitter to say no to social media bill. Are you for or against social media, or do you even think that we need some form of regulation at all on the social space?
Well, as a lawyer, I'll answer, we always need laws, for order and peaceful society.
Okay.
Yes, but having said that, the same our constitution also says that provides that in section 37 for the privacy of citizens to communicate and through their phone calls and phone communications and conversations guaranteed and secured and protected. So if we have the right to use our if we have right to communicate, to go on social media to, discuss, then I don't think that our rights should be restricted in the manner that they want. Okay, so one of the things I've seen that they talked about NCC being able to ask to regulate the social media space, or to ask, that the law enforcement can ask the NCC to prevent, use of social media at a given time, as we've seen in some other countries where they stop the use of WhatsApp, or stop the use of Facebook, or stop the use of Twitter and Instagram, as the case may be. So I don't think it should be. Most times when people talk about social media, when the government looks at social media, they only look at it in the negative side or input. They just look at what being attacked on it or fake news that they always throw around. But we forget that from this social media, it has also helped people to get information about happening in places, about things going on, about how to avoid danger at some particular point, like something is happening and somebody says, puts up a video and says, this is happening at this place, or even for traffic, something as little as traffic, saying, oh, this at this point is completely blocked, so try to take the alternative route and all of that. So it hasn't all been all woe. Social media hasn't been woe. So it shouldn't be something that should be regulated in such a way that people will not be able to use it to communicate and to, advocate, because that's the major part of the fear that I see government trying to regulate. But generally, it's the right of citizens, and even up to the African Union level, there are laws, protecting the cyber rights of citizens to the cyberspace and the rest. So I don't think it's right to prevent the use of it. But of course, there should be not for everything. There should be some regulation so that it's not free for all, and people begin to also abuse it. But at the same time, we should be mindful of the content of whatever thing they want to bring out as a law regulating social media. But generally, social media is good, and it should really stay in Nigeria because it has helped us.
Okay, let's look at the panels that were set up post the NSAS protest, which was one of the demands by the 545 by the NSAS protesters, which was the panel to investigate some of the issues that were surrounding the police brutality and the disbanded SARS team. What are some expectations? What should we be looking at the panel being set up in different states? What would be your take on the Lagos State panel in particular?
Okay, so the panel is a welcome development, in my opinion, and as it's new, I'm hopeful that they will do, even as the name suggests, that it's for inquiry and also for restitution. So although when you look at this restitution, strictly speaking, of course, they can't resurrect people's children who probably have died, or young people who have been suffered some kind of injustice that they may not really be able to restitute, as the case may be. But to a large extent, they should be compensated, and but importantly, we should be able to see that they have done their very best to, bring the justice that people are demanding in this area, and to completely that the reports that will come out of this panel would help first also to restitute, and also to help, put for the police reform program that give rise to the NSAS protest. So I'm hopeful so far. Like what I heard yesterday or 2 days ago on the radio, where they said LCC was trying to ask to start operating the tool or something just at the panel, and the panel had to stop it and said the investigation is still on and all of that. So it's giving some kind of, and I'm hoping that at the end of the whole inquiry will get justice that they deserve.
All right, we're all hopeful about that. 19 minutes to 10. This is still the big question on Women Radio 91.7. Having a conversation this morning with regards to my pledge to Nigeria. We're looking at the collective responsibilities of us all in making sure that we have a greater nation, and we do what is right with regards to ensuring that we demand accountability on our part and on that of the government with regards to the Nigeria that we want to see. You would like to be part of this conversation? Let's get to hear from you on 07000 917 and 090-256-25455. You can send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070-317-56537 to be part of the conversation here on the radio as we take you through the journey of what we're talking about here this morning. Now let's begin to look at some other pressing issues which we need to address, which is our young people. In the momentum that exists right now among young people, everybody is pretty pumped up with regards to what with the Nigeria that we desire. But what are the things that we need to fix among young people for us to be really prepared for 2023?
Okay, I would say our short attention span. First, we need to because that's what has worked against us in this country as young people. Our very short attention span. So when something is happening and we just focus on it, and in a few days, in a few weeks, we are over it and we tend to move on to the next thing that is happening. So I think that as young people, it's a good start. The NSAS protest is a good. I would like to call it the NSAS movement. Is a good step. It's a good start for young people to continue to build on, to work towards seeing this thing, because we have spoken at this point, and the government have heard what the young people have said at this particular point. So we need to begin to build on it. And in preparation for 2023, we need to not just talk about it, but we need to take the steps. Like joining political parties, I encourage young people to join political parties, existing ones,
okay,
or because Nigerians as citizens, we have the right to start our own political party and movement, as the case may be. So I think young people should try to join political parties, to enter the structure, to go in the structure, because when we have more young people in the structure, these things that we are demanding, we are able to push for it from within.
Yes.
Because we will not be able to just speak about it, speak about what we want to see, how we want to see it, and we are not part of the system. It will just end in only the advocacy, and the implementation we may never see. So when young people who are interested, who we know that are capable, who have assessed themselves and seen that they are capable of being in these positions, come out, and other young people support them.
Okay.
So we begin to grow in this system, and I think it will help us in a long way, because from what we have seen in these conversations we've seen, even on social media, from young people about the system now, about what we want, about what we want to see. If we can go into political parties with this mindset and begin to work towards this change, I believe it's possible. And for 2023, we need to be focused. We need to stay woke.
Yes, that's what I like, that part of we need to stay woke. But then there are individuals who are already losing hope or losing faith with regards to, or if anything can actually come out of this country. What would you say to such individuals?
I don't think we should lose hope, because really, I don't know about other people, but I only have Nigerian passport. So I don't think we should lose hope at this point. I think we should, keep up this way. But I wouldn't deny the fact that at some point it can be depressing, that it can be frustrating, like how the end start protest thing, ended with citizens who were very peaceful.
Yeah.
It was a peaceful protest. People just came out and, just sat down on the ground, just played music and danced. Nobody attacked anybody. People prayed together, sang together, danced together. So there was nothing, harmful or insecure about the whole protest. But, it came out like that, and it ended with what we know happened. So I know that it might be depressing for a lot of people, and people saw their friends, die as part of the protest and all of that. So I know it can be depressing for a lot of young people, even I inclusive. I remember the 20th night, how people were crying and praying and saying, God, intervene and all those kind of things. So I know it can be very depressing for young people, but we shouldn't give up. That's just what I have to say. We have to, cry when we need to cry, and pick up ourselves and, push.
how did you deal with the trauma of what happened on the 20th of October?
Oh, wow. So it was. I don't even know how. Like I was just telling you about, crying and praying. So I happened to, my siblings, we called, each other when we started talking about it. Where is this country going to? Initially, we were frustrated and we were coughing out and all of that. But after some time, we stopped, and we started praying because that was just what we could do at that point. Praying, for families and all of that. So it was really sad. It was really frustrating and depressing at the moment. But we move.
We move.
Yeah.
All right. 13 minutes to 10. This is still the big question on Women Radio 91.7. A very honest conversation here this morning on the big question with my pledge to Nigeria. Now let's look at the legal system. How do we strengthen the legal system ahead of 2023? What do we need to? What are some things that needs to be checked, that needs to be destroyed or constructed in order to help the legal system be better for the citizens ahead of 2023?
So I look at it. So in some kind of insider, I would say trust. We need to also trust our legal system. We need to trust our judges. We need to trust the process enough. I know that I'm not saying this because I'm saying that there's no corruption or anything like that. But sometimes when you put your trust on someone, when you tell somebody and assure somebody I trust you, it helps the person to make the right decision at some point or at times. So I think we should begin to trust our system more, because I know that when our leader came out to say the judiciary is corrupt and every judge is corrupt, it affected the system. In my thinking, it affected the system.
Okay.
Even the common man that was supposed to go to court and the judgment that people would have accepted ordinarily, they began to say the judges have been bribed. So we need to trust our system some more and give them some credit. And by that we can begin to hold them accountable by telling them we trust you and we expect you to do the right things. We expect you to give the right judgment. We expect you to look at the matter critically based on the law and how it should be.
Yes.
It shouldn't be swayed because of money or influence or intimidation or whatever it is.
Okay.
So I think for me it's us first as citizens to begin to trust the system.
If we're going to trust the system, how do we trust the system? Because over the years, let me talk for an average Nigerian who most likely would see cases and would see situations of things that are going on. We read the papers, we listen to the radio, we watch the televisions, and we see a lot of things that are going on with regards to some irregularities in the legal system. How do we now begin to trust the system? Isn't the legal system itself supposed to create an avenue for us to trust them?
Yes. Okay. So maybe that's the part of the first question you asked me that I didn't finish up. Where I think that we should have also make using the courts now. The courtroom should be friendly enough. The judges should have sufficient tools to work with. Because some of them have so many cases and they are not able to dispense it, within sufficient time. Like if you've been in the court for a matter, you will see how, there are a lot of cases, there are a lot of things in the docket to deal with. So sometimes it makes the system slow and it comes out to the ordinary man as they are not doing anything. Because having to sit down in a day, let's just try to break it down in the having to sit down in a day to listen to a matter, write down, take notes, and just one in a day. You end up seeing that it's like they're just listening to one case in a day, and this is not what happens. In a day, they will have like 10 on their list to listen to, so to attend to. And it also slows down the system and it also affects them. So I think they should have sufficient tools to work with, even from the police level from the police to even the prison authorities and to the court itself. So generally, let the system have enough space to work, have enough. Lagos State as one, they are trying to put some of the things, but it's not the same all over the nation. So I think the judges should, have good court environment, tools to work with, sufficient staff to work with, and everything to help them, dispense with the matter as quickly as possible.
All right. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Cherry. But just before I let you go, we always do something at the end of the conversation of this, My Pledge to Nigeria. I'm going to need you to say your full name and say I pledge to Nigeria, and then you fill it with what you actually pledge to Nigeria.
Okay.
Yes.
My name is Chinenye Nwevo, and I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Do have a lovely day.
Thank you very much.
All right. And this is where we call the big question to wrap this morning. And in the last couple of days, in the last 2 weeks particularly, we have constantly had a conversation around My Pledge to Nigeria, which is not just a repetition of program or a repetition of a concept. It's about we driving this message. The whole essence of this program is to ensure that we go back to our neighborhoods and begin to drive that message for the Nigeria that we desire. We must begin to speak to people around us or to be able to drive that change. And on that note, I want to let you all know that tomorrow's big question will be different. It's going to start off at 8:30, and it's not just a big question. It's a special edition tomorrow. We're going to be having a conversation on the corruption of COVID-19 palliatives by Nigerian state governors. The conversation is going to start at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow to 10 on the radio. So we're going to have the executive director of WOTSI, Biola Akionde Afolabi, Kolawole Oludare, Chioma Uko, and Nelson Ekojumi. They're all going to be joining me in this conversation tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. It's going to be via Zoom, but it's also going to be live on the radio between 8:30 and 10 a.m. tomorrow. So do well to be part of this conversation on Women Radio 91.7. My name is Daniel Adaja. Esther Larabe has been with me in the studio. And of course, at 10 o'clock would be Radio Doctor, your free health consultation radio program where real doctors advise real people. Good morning.
WFM 91.7.
Uncle Dentist, what are cavities? And how does Colgate protect my teeth from cavities? Does it use Kung Fu?
No, dear. Most tooth pains are caused by tooth holes called cavities. When you brush daily with Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection, its expert formula locks natural calcium in our teeth and helps protect them from cavities.
It's time to upgrade to the world's most chosen toothpaste, Colgate, because Colgate locks calcium in.
Yes, cavities out!
Colgate is recommended by the Nigerian Dental Association.